Project Last Chance is finally running under its own power. I cannot tell you how happy I am with everything that we've done to this truck so far. We don't have a lot of time before we get to the power tour, so we're gonna finish up the Vintage Air install, and then we're gonna turn our attention to replacing the door glass, and I'm gonna contact a window replacement company to come in and replace the windshield and the rear window. So before we get started on wrapping up the Vintage Air install, I just wanted to show you guys how we ended up running the plumbing for the AC and heater core. We went with the suggested routing from the Vintage Air kit. We used their firewall plate, we used their supplied lines. We basically just set it up like Vintage Air wanted it to be. So we even drilled the hole in the radiator support. Chris also did the body wiring harness, and he wired in the Vintage Air unit. So this is the harness that comes from the fuse panel for the body, and then this is the control module for the AC control that we wired up. So all we're doing today is we're gonna finish routing the plumbing for the air vents and get this basically buttoned up so we can wrap up our dash and basically just be down to the Dakota Digital gauges. But let's go ahead and get started on wrapping up this AC. Gotta say, it feels pretty good getting this side of the dash buttoned up. We got the block off plate installed so it hides all of our wiring, and I might have done that prematurely, but I got too excited and I just wanted to put it in. But really, I mean, this side of the dash is buttoned up, and then of course we still got the gauges to do, but now we can turn our attention to these vent windows and glass. So we got all new glass for the truck from Auto Metal Direct. If you guys haven't checked them out for any of your needs for these classic vehicles, they got bumpers, they got sheet metal, they got, you know, door handles, they got you know, glass, they got all kinds of stuff. So just check them out, autometaldirect.com. A great resource for when you're doing restorations on any classic vehicles. The biggest concern with building vent windows is this nut right here. So what will happen is, if your truck came from a very salty environment, very rusty environment, this will rust out, and once this snaps, it's kind of cumbersome to be able to fix because this is the tensioner for the actual window. So this one's in really good shape. This truck was a Louisiana truck, so it's been in the South its whole life, and it's been in a garage for the last 10 years. So we're gonna reuse this whole thing. We're not even gonna paint it. We're just gonna pop this window out. But either way, these are looking pretty good, so we're gonna get the rest of this door taken apart and then start taking out our glass. So this truck was, I don't know, in an incident. There's a massive dent on the other side. Basically, see that? It's a banana. I think I have to put it back in there and see how close it is to the door. It looks like it's sitting right on it. But either way, the window went up and down. before, so I'm assuming it'll probably do the same once we get it all rebuilt. Spoke a little bit too soon. So this is the vent window frame on the passenger side. That looks really good. This is the piece that I was talking about. And then this is the vent window frame on the driver's side. So it's pretty heavily corroded and pitted, and I actually had to cut off the nut that held on the tensioner spring. So the fix to this is to weld on a new threaded rod, and we're gonna go to the parts store and grab some parts to get this wrapped up. I've tried to find just the frame itself. They are available. They're pretty tough to find, but I couldn't find one readily available, and we're only a couple of weeks out from the power tour. So I think this fix is gonna be exactly what we need to keep moving forward. The rest of the vent window assemblies are in really good shape. So once we get this piece welded on, we'll be able to put them back together and get them back in the truck. And one more thing, I was actually able to straighten out this piece. So this is the window channel on the passenger side. It's not a banana anymore, which is nice. And if you've been following this build, you know that the passenger side of this truck had some pretty gnarly damage. It looked like they sideswiped a tree or something. When I took the window out and the glass out, I was able to shove a 2x4 in there and pry on the outer skin of the door panel to help push that dent out. So actually cleared a lot of room for the window, and for some reason, like, that window didn't shatter when they hit the tree. But either way, we got this banana straightened out, so we'll get back on them vent windows and get this door glass in the truck. Now that we have our vent windows cleaned up, I threw some paint on them, and while that paint's drying, I'm gonna go ahead and throw the door glass into the glass tracks. So unfortunately, the glass tracks we had started to rot, so I picked up some new glass tracks from classicparts.com. They had these in stock. I had them in a couple of days. It's definitely worth the minimal investment to get the new tracks and not have to reuse the old ones or risk failure later on down the road. So we have our Auto Metal Direct glass right here, and when you're installing the glass on the glass tracks, you need what's called glass setting tape. So when I purchased the window regulators from classicindustries.com, I grabbed this glass setting tape. So I use OER glass setting tape, and Classic Industries has 3 different sizes. So I ordered 10-foot rolls of all 3 sizes because there's gonna be different variances on how thick your glass is and how wide the glass track is. So it's best just to get all 3 up front, so if there's any variances and what's recommended, you can always make that adjustment and not have to wait a couple of days to install your glass. I also want to hop on here and say thank you to Auto Metal Direct for sponsoring this build. Not only did they provide all the glass for this truck, but they also provided inner fenders, a hood latch, the bumper mounts, and they're going to provide a brand new bed floor to fix that massive hole in the bed. I've been using autometaldirect.com before this project, so their sponsorship actually means a lot to me, and I think it's amazing to be able to work with such a great company. If you're rebuilding any project, be sure to visit autometaldirect.com to see if they have what you're looking for. Just like that, we have a running and driving truck that is ready for the power tour. I cannot believe that we got this truck put together in time to even attempt to do something like this. I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors and partners in this build. Holley Performance for providing some killer performance parts and the engine harness to get this truck up and running. B&J Powder Coating in Orlando, C&K Metal in Bunnell, Florida, AMD for providing the glass, bumper brackets, and some other items that we needed to make sure the body wasn't going to fall apart while we're on the power tour. Vintage Air AC for providing the killer Vintage Air AC system that's going to keep us cool during this heat wave. Leadfoot Racing for working with us on the Champion radiator. And last but not least, Dakota Digital for providing their gauge set. Now, we got the RTX gauges. I just got them a couple days ago. They will not be in the truck for the power tour, but we're gonna do a video on the install very soon, and we have our digital readout with our Holley Terminator X Max system to make sure we're keeping an eye on our engine vitals. So guys, this is not the end of this build. We have some really cool stuff planned for this, but our next video, you're gonna see me taking this truck on a 1,500-mile road trip, hoping that we don't break down. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. It would definitely help us out at Street Trucks Magazine. If you haven't already, please like the video, share it with your friends and family, and hey, consider subscribing to Street Trucks Magazine, C10 Builders Guide, OBS Builders Guide, F100 Builders Guide, and now we have a new electric vehicle magazine that's just now hitting the stands. That's gonna do it for this video, guys. See you in the next one.